Hi, it's Michelle Cottle here at the summit with Bernard-Henri Levi, the journalist and philosopher, and of course, more recently, activist with the Libya uprising. Now, you helped get France and kind of by extension the U.S. involved in this. Has this turned you into something of a rock star with the intellectual set?
No, this is something just a duty of man. When I saw the images of the uprising shot by the planes of Gaddafi, when I saw this depressing situation where these people was, we knew everything, something had to be done. So I smuggled myself through the border from Egypt to Libya. I did that a few times, over and over after, and I did my task. I did my job, what I felt to be my job and task.
Now, given your involvement, what do you make of all the now political back and forth over what happened in Benghazi?
What do I make? For me, the day of the death of Ambassador Stevens was a day of despair for everybody, for American people, but even for me. I knew him from Benghazi. We met in Paris, but we met many times in Benghazi. I saw him operating on the battlefield. He considered diplomacy as a battlefield. He was a ground diplomat. And I felt this day as a despair, mourning, and sorrow day. On the other side, the only thing which gave me a little joy, if I dare say, in the days after, was to see the population of Benghazi, the simple people, honoring the memory of Ambassador Stevens, asking justice for Stevens, asking the truth, demonstrations where you had boards saying, Stevens, our brother, Stevens, our ambassador, Arab crowds, Stevens, we have to know the truth, and so on and so on. So on one side, the dark side, you had this terrible image of this young American hero killed in such tragic way. On the other side, you had this sign of vibrancy of the Libyan society shown by these demonstrations. So it's no black, no white.
Now, going off in a completely different direction, the talk around town and even at the summit here is of this scandal with David Petraeus. What do you make of the whole thing?
I don't want to, I'm not an American. I'm just a great friend of America. And I'm a little embarrassed by your question, but if I have to be frank, I would have liked to see David Petraeus here. I would have loved to hear what this true American hero would have had to tell us about his experience and commitment. And I'm so sorry. I feel so sad that for a private affair, at the end of the day, for a private affair, the image, the career, and the life of one of your great and true heroes is, for a moment at least, spoiled and tarnished. I think it's a little sad. And I don't know, I don't understand really the logic of all this turmoil.
Do you think this is just a peculiarly American cultural obsession and not necessarily a really healthy one?
I don't know, but how could one not rely that, connect that to what happened to Bill Clinton when he was pursued, prosecuted by Kenneth Starr, and nearly not impeached, but prevented from doing his great job of the great president he was. There is sometimes in all societies, but in America, problems of this sort. It's from outside. It looked a little crazy. President Clinton being virtually impeached by a little sex affair, let's say, okay. And today, Petraeus being put on the bench of the accused because of a private affair, which is a matter between him, his wife, and this woman, there is something. Sometimes I have the feeling that the world is walking on the head, as we say familiarly in France.
Now, last night, Admiral McRaven just spontaneously brought up the Petraeus issue and defended him, and the room applauded. I mean, do you think that the situation has changed from the Bill Clinton years, or it's just a kind of different scenario altogether?
I'm sure that what I just told you about this Petraeus affair, I'm sure that a huge majority of Americans think exactly as I do. It is not an original point of view, you are right. And the proof was given yesterday night. So I don't know, you have a few moralist ayatollahs in all countries, in France also, in Europe too, of course, who shout a lot, who shout higher than the silent majority, which is us, those who were yesterday in the room. That is a problem, but why should we obey to these screamings of witches of Salem, as Arthur Miller said, the witches of Salem? David Petraeus, my God, is a great hero. That is the most important. He risked his life. He saved a life. He bore very high the flag of America and of the values of America. He will remain in the history of America of this century. This is the most important, at least I think.
So this is all just a sideshow, and you think eventually it'll all calm back down and he will be remembered as a great man?
I'm sure of that.
All right. Well, there we go. We're on record. Thank you so much for coming by and talking with us.
Thanks to you.
And I hope you enjoy the rest of the summit.
Of course.